1183.
If I may take them in a different order, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the committee. If I could first take up Senate Bill 1353. Senate Bill 1353 is actually an outgrowth of a Senate resolution that had passed several years ago. I tried a Senate resolution and then a Senate bill that the House did not embrace, which is absolute mystifying to me. What this is it is a transparency bill as it relates to the budgetary process, and this is not an outgrowth of any recent political phenomena. It's something that I think has been needed for quite some period of time. And fundamentally what it provides is transparency to the entire General Assembly, as opposed to those few who end up being conferees on the budget. And it requires the Chairman of the House Appropriations and the Chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, concurrently with the issuance of the budget report, to specifically identify any non-state appropriation, any item in the conference report which was not included in the general appropriation bill by either the House or the Senate, and any items that represent legislation that failed in either the House or the Senate during the regular or special session. So what this does is that if in fact there are earmarks in the sense of dollars, or there are insertions in language that have previously been considered by the General Assembly and rejected, or not having been considered, then it must be disclosed so every member of the General Assembly is fully aware of it. And I know you gentlemen are passionate about transparency, and I look forward to a favorable recommendation.
You want in here the name of the member of the General Assembly. We inserted the provision in the conference. There could be a bunch of them.
Well, it could be, and I think they ought to take pride of ownership.
All right. Does anybody want to speak in favor of this bill? Anybody want to speak? Yes. You like it.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Steve Rossi, the Family Foundation, and we support the bill.
Anybody else?
I'm Monica Sanders. I'm chairman of the Middlesex Tea Party Patriots, and we support anything that does transparency.
Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else?
Richmond Tea Party.
Okay. Anybody? Is the coffee party here? Anybody else? Anybody want to speak against the bill? Anybody from the Finance Committee?
I'm here.
Senator
Quayle's here.
I move the report.
I got a question. We want to make sure we understand. You get the narrative description talking about anyway, right? That's on the short sheets.
Yes. I mean, this isn't that complicated.
Adding who asked for the.
All they do is put in parentheses
the name.
Senator Edwards.
Right. Any non-state appropriation. Any non-state agency appropriation. That's in there anyway. Well, okay.
These are insertions that were not included in the general appropriations bill.
And then you want to say that was the non-state agency? Non-state agency appropriation.
Mr. Chairman, that's a friendly amendment.
I move that amendment.
All right, agency, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Number 2, any item in the conference report that was not in the general post. This something was new and different. It was not in either. Okay.
I know it would shock you, Senator Edwards, and last year was an eye-opening experience for me. It was my first opportunity to serve as a budget conferee, but it is absolutely mystifying how these things just can sort of find their way into the final budget bill. Sometimes even as a budget conferee, you're not necessarily aware of it.
If I could get one in, I'd be glad to own it.
And then any legislation that fails, you're talking about policy legislation is in the budget bill, not in any bill that passed the General Assembly.
Right.
Yeah, and that happens. Shocking, isn't it?
It is rather remarkable, and I know how conscious you are, so I know you want to put a spotlight on it along with me.
Well, I think it's usually spotlighted anyway. All right,
I'm not being rhetorical, Mr. Chairman, nor argumentative. It is not spotlighted. I recall 2 years ago,
usually somebody like you brings it up to them.
well, and this is a good example. 2 years ago, I recall we were on a fast track on getting the budget out, and I stood up on the floor of the Senate, and I asked the conferees from the Senate, I said, has there been any insertions in this budget right along with this line? And the answer was, I don't know and I'm not sure. And that wasn't a misrepresentation. There's not, and this isn't a criticism of anyone, but there's not complete transparency even within the conference committee.
All right, nobody's going to speak against this, is that right?
How can you speak against transparency?
Okay. All right, the move and second that Senate Bill 1353 be recommended for reporting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The next one is